Cars, start your engines!
It's MRN Motorsports Monday, the place for the latest news and loudest opinions, direct from the guys at the track. Presented by Outback Steakhouse. The stories, views, and opinions expressed on MRN Motorsports Monday are not likely shared by anyone, anywhere. Results may vary, so you should talk to your doctor before watching.
What's up, Doc?
Today's episode is brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Pace car is a...
Sitting in for Joey and Woody, here are your hosts, Tony Rizzuti and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome to the rained-out Bristol preview version of the Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. I'm Tyler Burnett. This is Tony Rizzuti. We're not Woody Cain. We're not Joey Meyer because we have more hair than them.
We do have more hair than them, but they're at the racetrack, and we're stuck here at the office. So kind of a push, would you say?
Yeah, I would
Maybe advantage them?
And they didn't have hair going into Bristol, but if they did, they'd probably be pulling it out by now because of all the rain.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. In fact, was just talking to some folks at the track. It's dry right now. They put down some additional VHT, keep that bottom groove going. I know some of the drivers like that. Kyle Larson, not so much. He likes that high groove, wants that high groove to come back. But I guess there's a couple of isolated showers out there, so it may be hit or miss today. Coming up right after us, you can listen to the race on PRN. They have the race, we don't, so don't send us emails. That our app doesn't work. They have it there. But you know what? Look, another day to think about. I'm excited for this race. I think a lot can happen based on what we saw out of the Xfinity race. We saw action. We saw bumping. We saw people upset. I hope we get the same today.
Yeah, and Ross Chastain, Jeremy Clements, two of the guys that, they were probably running somewhere around 20th, and they were upset with each other during the rain delay. We'll talk to Woody Cain about some of these things coming up. You mentioned the VHT with the low, I guess I'm just going to call it cough syrup or some kind of syrup at the bottom of the track to give some grip to the bottom of the racetrack. You see in indoor kart racing and stuff like that. Yeah, that was laid down this morning because of the rains that washed away, and we'll ask Woody Cain about that as well coming up. I think it's going to be fun. 500 laps, a lot of laps around that place, but we don't have to do any work today. We get to watch the race. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun with that. And I'll tell you what, if you don't already have a favorite for today's race, like you haven't figured out who you want to root for, don't have a dog in the fight, let's root for Kevin Harvick today. Yeah, all of us, because Daddy wants an onion. And if Harvick gets that top 10, we get that free blooming onion. So I'm a Harvick fan today, I think.
Wow, you just called yourself Daddy.
Daddy needs an onion.
All right, also on the show today, we'll have Woody Cain coming up after the break. Daniel Hemric. Yeah. He has a lot of money compared to me now. Winning the Dash for Cash.
$100K.
At Bristol on Saturday. We'll talk to him. His best finish in the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Bristol on Saturday.
5th in points.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid has snuck under the radar in that 21 car. He's doing a good job for RCR.
He's been good. He's going to a track that he's never been to, I don't think, in his life. We'll have to ask him about
Richmond,
that. But he's never raced at Richmond, so he's going there to try to defend his Dash for Cash win. We'll talk more about VHT, everything else. We'll hear from Kyle Larson, the pole sitter, as the field was set on points today for the Food City 500. That's all coming up. Woody Cain is after the break. This is Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Today Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Dr. Tom Pierce.
So, Dr. Tom, what's your claim to fame?
Well, due to all of Toyota's NASCAR wins last year, I wrote thousands of doctor's notes for fans for overexcitement hypertension, a condition that requires a day off work to rest.
Sounds like a responsible doctor.
Doctor? I'm not a real doctor, bro. Would a doctor get a guy off work for overexcitement about the new Camry? Because I did.
Let's go NASCAR fans!
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit toyotaracing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Where will you be when NASCAR comes to Chicago's fastest loop? 4 days of racing, tailgating, camping, and music come to Chicagoland Speedway September 14th through the 17th. Tickets for Sunday Chicagoland 400 are available now. Camping spots are available and selling fast. All kids' tickets $25 off adult price and free on certain race days. Get your tickets and campsite now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Chicagoland Speedway, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs start here.
Hi, this is Austin Dillon. Now back to MRN Motorsports Monday.
It's been a good season for us. Our race cars have been really fast. I've scored stage points in all but one of the stages. So that's important to be the point leader. You got to be running top 10 every race to gain as many points as you can. And like I said, our race car has been extremely good to allow us to run up front like that. So hopefully we can keep it going. It's nice to be the point leader and be starting up front here at Bristol. I always race really well here. I just don't ever qualify good. So it'd be cool to start from the front, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully that number one pit stall kind of helps us, gain some spots on pit road and have a clean race.
The voice of Kyle Larson, who's had tremendous, wow, I can't even say that word, success this year already with a win, 5 top 5s in 7 races. He starts on the pole today.
I tell you what, I just got off a cruise, not bragging about that, but was down in the Bahamas, and I was wearing my MRN hat. I had tons of people come up to me, Tyler, asking me about Kyle Larson. They're like, hottest driver, this is the next kid, is he for real? I'm like, for real.
Yeah.
This kid is the real deal, and I mean, he's caught even non-NASCAR people by storm. They know the name. We'll expect a lot from him.
Yeah,
today.
and arguably his best racetrack today, at least he'll admit that to you, it's his favorite racetrack at Bristol. He starts on the front row alongside Chase Elliott. Martin Truex Jr. will start third, Brad Keselowski fourth, Joey Logano. That's your top 5 to start today by owner's points. And we're joined now by Woody Cain, who is, of course, the host of this show. He's usually here, and we're usually not. So he's in Bristol today on assignment. Woody, how's it look in Tennessee today?
Well, the good news is I'm in the infield right now looking at blue skies, so that's much different than what we've had. It rained for, over 24 straight hours without let-up around here, so this is nice to see.
Hey, Woody, one of the big stories coming into Bristol is the fact that they put that VHT, that stickiness down on the track. I saw a tweet from you earlier showing that they reapplied it this morning. Was that something the garage expected the track to do? Did we expect them to put additional syrup down?
Well, they told us early on, NASCAR did on Friday, that they would monitor the situation throughout the weekend, what with cars racing on it and rain in the forecast, and that they reserved the right, for lack of a better phrase, to reapply. They did this morning, but it's not quite a full groove wide like it was before. Mm-hmm. It's a sticky substance that allows the bottom lane to come in after they ground the top lane, and that was where everyone was racing. Kyle Larson, interesting that you had that cut from him there. He was trying to get the officials to only put it down where your left tires would be in it and not the whole car, not all 4 tires. He felt like that would make better racing. Of course, he might be a little bit biased since he wants to be able to use that top lane more often than not, but he was not afraid to use the bottom lane when he needed to in the Xfinity Series as well. So I think that's something to definitely keep an eye on. It was funny earlier, the track officials had that tire dragger that they were trying to put some more rubber down, and Rodney Childers, Kevin Harvick's crew chief, started tweeting at them, no, VHT is good. The tires will just gum up like we saw in practice, when everybody saw all the marbles and all the pictures from over the weekend of just the goop on the tires from running in that stuff and getting into marbles.
Yeah, and we saw Childers driver Kevin Harvick the last time we were there dominate this race on the bottom of the racetrack, so I'm sure he wants that bottom lane to be as good as possible. You mentioned the Kyle Larson story, talking about how, I think the quote was, this isn't fun anymore because they've kind of ruined the top lane, and that story is on MRN.com from Pete Pistone. Woody, we saw the Xfinity Series race on Saturday, and I'm going to kind of tailor it to today's race. Do you think we saw good lanes, top, bottom? Do you think it was an even race as far as the lanes on the track at Bristol on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it provided exactly what they hoped it would, an alternative, a different lane where guys could search for the best way to make their car fast, and that's exactly what they were hoping for, so they wouldn't go single file all the way around the top, which had become the quickest path here. Interestingly enough, Eric Jones, who won the Xfinity race, ran the most laps in final practice at 40, so he had a pretty good feel and ran a good chunk of the time there trying to get his car better. He'll be a guy to watch out for today. And you mentioned Kyle Busch. He talked about how he was really good here when the racing was all around the bottom, and his team had a good handle on that. Since it's moved up to the top groove, he hasn't been able to get that same feel, but with this VHT, that might be a little bit of an equalizer. And the 10-lap averages in practice, he was right up there in the top 5 and led both the final 2 practices. I know that was just 1 lap speed, but in that 10-lap average, he and Jones were both very good at 4th and 5th.
You know, Woody, it's interesting that you mentioned Kyle Busch, because in looking at practice and watching it and looking at the 10-lap averages, it seems to be a tale of 2 different Gibbs teams when you look at Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Kyle Busch up near the top. But a couple of veteran guys down at the bottom, Denny Hamlin, 23rd in 10-lap averages, only 17th best in practice overall. Matt Kenseth, 15th in 10-lap averages, 20th overall. Both those guys having to start in the back. They haven't been able to seem to get their season going since Daytona. What's happening with the 11 and the 20? What are you hearing?
Well, it's interesting. I think, Tyler, you were with Matt Kenseth last week when he did an appearance at the Hall of Fame, and he was talking about the main thing that concerned him was that they weren't running as well, or were running bad was his word, at tracks that they normally run good at, and that was what was concerning. They feel like they've had good speed at times. They feel like they haven't been consistently able to apply that to the track and get the speed that they have. But when Kyle Busch was talking about this very thing on Friday, he said he would be more concerned if they weren't having any speed at all and were floundering around, and pointed out that they were hot early last year and still didn't wind up winning the championship. So he said maybe there's something to getting hot at the right time, and that's what we'll look for from those guys today. You look at Matt Kenseth, for example. He's won here 4 times, so he certainly knows his way around and hasn't forgotten how to drive. They're just, and guys, the margins are so small now. If you're off, a tenth of a second, it looks like you're dragging an anchor.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Gibbs guys. We've also had some altercations with some others on the track during practice. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., this arguably is his best racetrack. Yep. He had an incident in practice, and I believe they fixed that car. Kyle Larson was trying to work the top lane in practice. He had a spin in practice as well. Those two guys, obviously, me being a fantasy host of a show, I'm thinking about those two on my fantasy team. Woody, did they get that stuff figured out and fixed and ready to go today?
Yeah, the damage that Kyle Larson had was very, very minor. It was just cosmetic damage on the right rear. Chris Buescher had a similar incident and had to go to a backup car, so he'll start in the back today. But you look at those guys who did have some damage, Stenhouse being one of them, they were going to go to the backup car, but they felt like with the timing and everything they needed to get done and with the rain in the area, they were going to go ahead and fix the car and be ready. And I think they'll be in pretty good shape because, as you mentioned, this is a track that he runs very well at. However, in overall top 10 speed, Stenhouse was only 27, so he didn't show the overall speed, at least in that final practice session for the 10-lap average that we might expect.
Woody, I said when we opened this show that fans don't have a pick today. Kevin Harvick could be a good one because we want that bloomin' onion. Looking at the Stewart-Haas cars, look like they're pretty fast. Clint Bowyer's been fast. Harvick's fast. Kurt Busch has been fast. Danica's struggled a little bit. But how about that 4-car today? Do you think you can get a top 10? Do you think he can take it to victory lane?
I think they can. I think they're a threat to win anywhere at any time. They've shown speed just about everywhere we've been for, 3 years now? I don't think that's going to be out of the question. If you're going to win this race or just about any of them, you're going to have to pass that 4-car because they're just about always up front. Rodney Childers, his crew chief, has been kind of, a little bit quiet, a little cagey, but he seems to be very confident in where they have the car, especially after the end of final practice. He felt really good with how they were running. So I think they're always going to be a factor. And, the drivers love this place, and that shines through when they get a chance to put their car out front.
Definitely. Well, I'm sure you're tired of looking at an empty racetrack. And with the suns, coming out, the weather, it looks pretty bright right now. I'm sure you're excited to get this race underway and come home, right?
No, absolutely. I was just talking with Joey Meyer a little while ago as he was headed up toward the roof, and he's been flying back and forth. He's only in the air for like 20-some minutes. He doesn't even get up to altitude before he's ready to come down and land. So he kind of rubbed it in about being able to go back and forth and sleep in his old bed over the past few days. Yeah,
well, hopefully he's flying home today, and we get this race finished up somewhere around 4:30 today as the race will go off just over an hour now. We'll be going green here at Bristol for the Food City 500. Woody, thanks. We have Daniel Hemric on the line, so we'll talk to you next when you get back here in Charlotte, and hopefully have a good race today.
Yeah, talk to Daniel. He's got one of those big fat checks to talk about. So that's
I'm going to hit him up for a loan.
Woody Cain. Woody Cain, everyone, host of Motorsports Monday, and I think it's interesting to hear about the VHT resin coming down. And we mentioned the grip on the racetrack, that bottom lane, we could see 2 even lanes today, especially since it was washed away with rain.
Yeah, I think we have a good chance of seeing that old Bristol guys having to bump and run. I'll tell you another guy to keep your eye on from a fantasy standpoint, Ryan Blaney.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he ran so well in the Xfinity race, old school cool. This is an old school feeling Bristol race. They found speed. He's confident. He might be a guy to watch today.
Yeah, he was good in the Xfinity race, and we'll talk about that after the break as we'll hear from Eric Jones. We'll also hear from Daniel Hemric. That's all coming your way on Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So cold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
You're smart, got your own trucking business, making it happen. What if I told you there was a place online where you could connect with other smart owner-operators just like you? It's an online community called Team Run Smart, where people share advice on truck maintenance, fuel savings, healthy habits on the road, and so much more, all to make your business more profitable. And it's all free. Visit teamrunsmart.com today to check it out. You'll be glad you did. teamrunsmart.com, brought to you by Freightliner Trucks.
Hi, this is Jimmy Johnson, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday.
Well, Eric, a speeding penalty, a little damage on the front end of the car, and yet here you are in victory lane. How'd you do it?
That's a good question. You know, a lot of timely cautions, a lot of timely restart positions, and just kind of got the right runs at the right time, you know, worked around to the front, and just kept hitting restarts on the top, and the top kept rolling, and we just kept picking them off, and, you know, sure enough, 20 to go, we were restarting fourth. And that's pretty prime real estate here towards the end of a race. So ended up getting by the 22. And once we got clean air, you know, it was just kind of hanging on and holding everybody else off. So just a crazy day. Not a race that I thought we had any shot of winning. I didn't think we were that good at the start, and then kind of got our stuff better and better. And by the end, the Reese's Camry was, you know, I feel like one of the best cars out there.
A lap 2:30 penalty for Eric Jones, and he went on to win the race. Of course, the race was 300 laps. You just heard Woody Cain's conversation with Eric Jones, the winner of the race in, what was this race called? The Saturday's Fitzgerald Glider Kits 300. Mm-hmm. That's a weird name, but at Bristol Motorsports, yeah, it is. I felt bad for PRN for having to say that over and over. But pretty good race in Bristol on Saturday.
I thought it was an excellent race. We saw different stage winners. Our guest that we're going to be talking to, Daniel Hemric, got a stage win. Kyle Larson got a stage win. Eric Jones gets the win. Little bump and run with Ryan Blaney. Both drivers saying, hey, man, that's just hard racing. He wasn't going to give. I wasn't going to give. So we had the old school Bristol. Then we had a little scuffle between Ross Chastain and Jeremy Clements. So it had everything you'd want in a Bristol race. Again, if we get that again today, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, we could see some excitement today on the track at Bristol, but the driver of the Blue Gate Bank Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing in the Xfinity Series joins us now, and he's excited because he brought home a massive check of $100,000. I don't know if he got all the money.
I'm going to hit him up for a loan either way.
But he won the Dash for Cash in the Xfinity Series. Daniel Hemric, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, guys. Yeah, definitely a good weekend, and happy to be on with you.
Your best finish ever in the Xfinity Series, a top 5 at Bristol. Now, you have a pair of top 5s at Bristol in the Camping World Truck Series. So you have obviously had to know that this was one of your better racetracks coming in on Saturday, didn't you?
Yeah, I feel like Bristol was a place we could definitely excel at, not only for myself, but my crew chief, Danny Stockman. He's gotten wins there in the past and always ran solid. And in all honesty, everybody, you know, the entire RCO organization has been pretty stout there in the past. So we definitely kind of had it circled as a place we thought we could go and maximize our day if we unloaded close, and we did that with a little bit of practice we got, and I thought we had a really fast Blue Gate Bank Chevrolet as soon as we unloaded. So at that point of the weekend, it's just a matter of maximizing your opportunities and putting yourself in position, and we were able to do that throughout the entire day and have a shot at the end, and that's all you can ask for.
Hey, Daniel, Tony here. I know you talk about maximizing your day, and you were able to get one of those stage wins. This is new for all of us this year. How difficult has it been for you to figure out how to manage these stage wins and maximize points where you can?
You know, just being completely transparent, I don't think it's something I've done a very good job of all year. I feel like I've struggled maybe towards the very end of those stages. I feel like we've been in position to get more points than what we've actually have on record, and that's kind of something the off weekend last week allowed myself, Danny Stockman, and RC there to sit down and talk about was how can we do a better job of that. So kind of a clean slate going into Bristol about what to do and how to go about it, and find ourselves in position to not only lead a couple of laps, but do it at the end of a stage and pick up a stage win. And those crucial stage points was big for us. And man, I've been running full-time NASCAR stuff now for I guess right at 2.5 years, and coming out of the late model side, it's been a while since I won anything. So any kind of checker flag, whether it was green and white or black and white, was a good day, and definitely a good momentum builder for us, especially for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's a good topic, and I wanted to kind of transition into that. You have had so many top 5 finishes in the Camping World Truck Series last year, and I mean, really unheard of, and running up front all year long, but yet not winning a race for Brad Keselowski Racing. You move over to Richard Childress Racing and the Xfinity Series, and you're already with a top 5, some good starts to the year. When does it become frustrating that you haven't visited victory lane yet in the National Series?
I feel like any driver, deep down, it's always frustrating whenever you have days where you're close and you don't get the job done, whether it's one time or 30 times. It don't matter. I feel like they all hurt about equally. So it can definitely, eat at you if you let it. But that's where it comes down to having good leadership, off the racetrack, and having people to kind of keep your mind where it needs to be. And I got a good group of guys here at RCR that allow me to not beat myself up too bad and try to keep my eyes focused forward. And, honestly, like I said, doing what we were able to do at the end of stage 2 and putting ourselves in position to win a race this past weekend was a step in the right direction. And, it does. It builds a little confidence, for myself and our guys that, the hard work's paying off. We're putting ourselves now in better positions, and hopefully we can keep doing that moving forward, and just allows everybody to know that, we can unload as close to where this weekend that this past weekend was just a testament of what we can do in the future, and that's what we look to do.
Daniel, over the last year or so at Bristol, one of the biggest stories is this VHT, this sticky substance they put down in the groove. You had a chance to race in it yesterday. What exactly does it do to the car, and did it change throughout the race for you?
Oh, my gosh. It is incredible the amount of change it goes through. Kind of going back a little bit on your question there, I was in the truck the year before in the first, obviously we were one of the first vehicles on the racetrack with this stuff when nobody knew anything about it. So I had a good bit of a notebook to go off of what to expect, but with it being applied in a lot wider fashion this year, this go around, it was still an unknown, but it seems to always take a little bit of heat to activate. You got to really take your time rolling the bottom lane in, but once it's in, it's just so dominant and so fast for a good bit of time. But as the Xfinity race, fired off, and we saw the rubber really build, pretty drastically. It almost like there was about an 8-inch strip around the bottom that the substance had kind of wore off, but still had a ton of grip if you could run the extreme bottom around the apron. But like I said, at 8 inches up the racetrack, you can almost see, like, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but it looked like a ½ inch to an inch of rubber buildup. And if your splitter was right at the start of the race, it was like the splitter of, the nose of the car was physically riding on the rubber and made you really tight center exit. So it was fun. It was kind of like, old school short track racing, had to kind of go where other guys weren't, try to find clean racetrack and maneuver around the VHT a little bit, but still maximize what it was there for. So I feel like it was pretty compelling inside the car to watch, and hopefully the fans enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be compelling to see what happens today.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the rain washed that away overnight, and then the track laid some down today before the Food City 500. I want to transition into next week. We're going to the Richmond International Raceway, and Daniel, you have never been there. You've never even seen the place. Yes, it's short track racing, but you did get the big check of $100,000 for the Dash for Cash, but there's more on the line now, because if you win next week in the Dash for Cash, you're going to be locked into the playoff. Do you think about those kind of things, going to a brand new racetrack and, of course, with the big check on the line again?
It's funny to bring that up. My wife and I were talking last night and just reading, some stories from this past weekend, and thought, man, I forgot all about the win, 2 Dash for Cash deals and you lock yourself in. Mm-hmm. So there is a big window of opportunity there for all of our guys. It's crazy, how much support Xfinity and Comcast puts into our series and to our sport. So it's cool to not only do it once, but have an opportunity to go do it a couple more times this year. So, yeah, going to a place I've never seen, never walked through the gate. I'm trying to do as much research here about the racetrack and pass notes that RCR has to lean on to try to prepare me as best I can. But there's no better way to go about it than just go make laps and be there. So, it could be – there's potential to be a big weekend for us, and we look forward to trying to take advantage of it.
Daniel, you talk about that preparation, and you said you had the notebook on the VHT to prepare for Richmond. Are you a simulator kind of guy? Will you do like maybe an iRacing or watch old races? How do you prepare, or maybe talk to the veteran drivers? How will you prepare for Richmond?
Yeah, in all honesty, growing up on the short track racing side, there was really only videos and talking to older racers is how you prepared. But at this level, with the technology, the way it's constantly changing and evolving, RCR's spend a ton of time and money and resources on having a lot of different tools we can use as drivers here to prepare. So between all their live data they have inside the Cup cars, we can look at a lot of brake and throttle tracing and steering inputs, and can get a lot of information off that, and obviously utilizing the GM simulator that Chevrolet has to offer, as well as we have our own little iRacing rig here at RCR. So a lot of stuff to pick from about how you want to go about approaching races, and I just try to adapt in a little bit of all of it to try to be as best prepared as I can. And even being to Bristol as much as I was able to utilize that a lot last week before going there, and I feel like it helped a ton. So hopefully just spend even that much more time on it this week to be as ready as I can be.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. I know Monday morning, probably not the best ideal situation, but we're racing today in the Food City 500, so we hopefully you enjoy the race in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And why don't you take advantage of that Dash for Cash at Richmond and lock yourself into the playoff next week, all right, Daniel?
Hey, yeah, we're going to try to. I appreciate you guys having me on. And let me tell you, a Monday morning with a $100,000 check waiting for you here at the shop is always a good Monday. So happy to be on with you guys, and enjoy your day, and we'll keep up with the race this afternoon.
He took the giant check and went straight to the bank.
I would have too, man. It's a lot better than my cold coffee I had this morning. I'd rather
Daniel
have that money.
Hemric, everyone, driver of the Blue Gate Bank
points,
Chevrolet.
by the way. I mean, he's
start.
right there.
Definitely.
Right there in the championship hunt.
And he was really consistent in the truck series, and I thought that he would definitely get into the RCR car and have some success. All right, one more final break, and then we'll end this thing. We'll wrap it up ahead of the Food City 500 coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Motorsports Monday presented by Outback Steakhouse.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Today Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Carrie, Queen of Cakes.
So, Carrie, why do they call you Queen of Cakes?
Well, whenever Toyota wins a NASCAR race, I make a life-size Camry cake.
Really?
Yeah, delicious and made in America, just like the dang car. And with all Toyota's wins last year, it was life-size Camry Cake City. Oh, even lost a kid at one point. Tried to drive one of the cakes. Had to eat his way out of the drivetrain. Bless his heart.
Let's go NASCAR fans.
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit toyotaracing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc. Toyota vehicles and components are built using U.S. and globally sourced parts.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Hey, this is Joey Logano, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday.
Hopefully we're racing shortly here at Bristol, as the Performance Racing Network will have live coverage on radio for you on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio as well at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time is when they go on. Fox will be on at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And Tony, I'm excited to see the Food City 500. 500 laps around this place. I think the more laps the merrier. This is one of my favorite racetracks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's interesting Joey Logano brings us back. That's going to be my pick today.
Okay.
Who was your pick on Inside Line?
I have Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson?
I hope the bottom, we were talking all about the VHT and everything. Yeah. For my choice, I was hoping they didn't put anything at the bottom of the racetrack so Kyle Larson could lead every single lap at the top of the track, but I'm sure the fans don't want to see that. So I wouldn't slide past Kyle Busch. 10 years ago, he won this race when he was 21 years old in 2007, the youngest winner ever in this race. I think Kyle Busch has won a lot of races at this place, and I think Kyle Busch could win this race.
Yeah, if he's really fast, he'll be hard to even get to try to put a bump on him. I just think Joey's really aggressive. He's got a fast race car. I think he might do what it takes to win. You know, it was interesting talking to Daniel about the iRacing thing. A lot of people laugh how can a video game get these guys ready? Look, you and I aren't going to play a video game
Right.
and suddenly go strap into a stock car. But if you have the experience already, you're just looking for subtle things. I talked to Kevin Harvick one time, first time he went to Dover. He got on an iRacing simulator. This was years ago, and they've gotten better. He said just the marks of getting in, when he actually went on the track, he started laughing because it was so good. So, a guy like Daniel can do that and find out how it's going to work. So
it should be exciting.
Fun. Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Great.
We'll see what happens. Bristol, top line, bottom line. We'll see what happens. The Food City 500 coming up.
Harvick, get us an onion.
1 p.m.
We
Eastern
need an
time.
onion.
Enjoy it. Thanks for listening to Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse.
MRN Motorsports Monday is presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in every Monday for another exciting episode right here on MRN.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network.